Next up on this thing, we just did a couple odds and ends. It was me, off camera, put on the bumper, the bumperettes, glued on some trim. I think that's probably it. I might have done other stuff off camera, but there's a few more projects I gotta tie up loose end wise until it's good to go and done. The main one here today is the heater core. The heater core is leaking on this one. I found it when I took the carpet out. So that sucks. I've been putting it off for quite a bit here, but now it's time to get into it. And it's not really gonna be much in the engine bay. The only thing you're gonna remove in the engine bay is a couple retaining bolts and the heater core hoses. Now you could just bypass the heater core if you didn't want heat in the winter time, but I'll be selling this Jeep and I don't wanna, somebody's gonna want heat, so we'll get into that. But, a telltale sign if you're losing coolant, or just check under the passenger side in your floorboard. It'll be wet here under the carpet. And when I removed this carpet, it was wet and you can see all this surface rust. There were no holes, no issues with the metal, but you can just tell it's been sitting in water for quite some time. And it was soggy, it was actively wet. So I did everything else, wanted to do the paint, put that off for a bit, and now I'll rip out the dash and do the heater core. I think I have one from an old project Jeep that I bought years ago. I think it came with one, so I didn't even buy one. But you can see I glued on those trim pieces, some there, and we'll get started. I mean, it's just gonna be removing the whole dash. I don't think I might walk you through it, or I might just time lapse. Well, first step is just removing the dash. I can't do the time lapse on this one because I'm low on SD cards. So I'm just gonna remove all of, actually I don't even know if there are any screws in this. I think the last time I had it off, there's none. Yeah, so normally there would be screws on this dash bezel, but go ahead and take the screws out and pop that off and then slide it up out of your way. Tight fit. Next, it's just gonna be you gotta get the gauge cluster out. That's what I'll do next. I've done this like 4 or 5 times, and but it's been a while, so exact steps might vary a little bit. But you're just taking everything off to get this whole dash off and out. And you'll get the lower piece off. Then you can get to your heater core box. I'll work on that. All right, the dash is, the gauges and all those electrical components are removed. Now I'm gonna start working on the HVAC stuff, and there will be vacuum lines in there and also down there and there. Disconnected some of the HVAC stuff and the lines, got the lower valence cover off, took out the Phillips head bolts that are up here. You can see them a little better through here. They're right there. There's 3 of them across, I believe. And this guy is just kind of stuck in there for now, so I haven't messed with it too much more. But I'm gonna work on getting the actual dash out now. So if I recall, it's gonna be like some 15mm bolts up in here on each side, but I'll get in there and let you know. Okay, up on top of the dash, you've got these 8mm bolts that, well, they're going through, it's just hard to see it, but it's like through the back of the top of the dash. You got to get that little plastic trim piece out. It's got these clips on the back side that hold it to like right here. The best way I found was you can get up underneath them on that side a lot easier and then run some pry tool across it and it'll pop up. Then you got to take out all those 8mm bolts. There's probably like 5 of them or 6 of them within a socket on a wobble. And then I believe the dash should probably be almost free after that. So I ended up just tying up with some string to the oh crap bar. what's the deal here? Oh, I don't, normally I'll just pull this whole thing off, but there's a lot of wires. You gotta cut the zip tie stuff off of a lot of wiring looms and disconnect a ton of stuff. So I'm kind of thinking I might just leave this hanging off here. It's this big heater box that we got to get to. I think I'll be able to get to everything without fully removing this guy, and then I don't have to cut off the rest of the zip ties. But you will have to remove this electrical deal, pigtail. Let's see, you're gonna have to remove the, what do they call that down there? The, can't think of the name of it, but it is, I think it's like a resistor for your fan. It does your fan speeds. You'll have to get that off of there. There's a vacuum ball here with some vacuum lines you'll need to disconnect. And probably some linkage over there maybe. But otherwise, you'll want to start getting in the engine bay. And you'll have to do these lines here to your heater core. And then there's going to be a bunch of, I don't remember exactly what they are, but it's the nuts that go on the end of the studs that'll hold your actual heater box on. You have to disconnect those so you can pull it out from the cabin side. So here's one of the little retaining nuts that we're going at. And here's the, I mean, there's not a lot of room in here, so it sucks, but also I've already got one out, but a lot of times they just start spinning. So when I get on this with a wrench, the stud and the nut is just spinning. Now I might be lucky, this may have separated from the back side of the box. Usually there's like little clips on there that hold the stud on. I'll show you once I get it out, but this one, it may have separated altogether and it may not be holding the box in anymore, but it's supposed to just come out like the nut, and it's free spinning. I got one off from down there. That one's free spinning. There's one right behind the head, and there might be two more. I gotta check, so I'm gonna hope that this one is off because it's kind of separated, and then I'll go at the other one over there. These things are kind of sneaky, so let's try to give you a rundown. There's one right down there in the camera, one right there. It's not fully out yet because it started free spinning. Then there's one down in there by that Y line, right beneath the Y line right there, right behind your vacuum canister. There's the tip of it. Then you've got, where did it go? I just saw it. Oh, and then you've got one right underneath your AC line where they go in right there. Then you've got one right there on the firewall, and then you have one down behind the head, which my 7/16 socket's still stuck on it. That's all 5, and it should come. Okay, there's one more in here. I knew about this, I just forgot. This, whatever, bolt. Take that out, then your little box will come out. Okay, the big old box is out now. Now I'm just going around removing all these little 7mm, maybe like 9/32 or something, but getting all those off, and then I'll be able to replace the heater core. Now it's a good idea to do the evaporator core, I think it is, or I think it's the evaporator for your AC in there while you're in here, so you don't have to do this again. But I will take a look. I don't really do a lot of AC in these Jeeps, so I don't think I'm gonna get into that. Just bust all those out and you can pry it open. Here's the box opened up. I just opened up the one side. I didn't pop the accumulator side or the evaporator. Here's the heater core. Just slides right in like that. You gotta take some little foam things off if you still got them. Here's like a isolator tray, so I'll put that back in there, just wrapped around the old heater core. Now I'm gonna go fill this thing up with water and try to see where the leak was. The new heater core and the box put back together, well, the used new heater core, about ready to go back in there. Just make sure you remember where your wires and vacuum lines go and what goes over and what goes under and what goes through what hole before you try to bolt everything back up. This is fully installed. A lot of the vacuum lines are hooked up. Some of the electrical's put back in. Everything from this end is just about done. I gotta do the AC junction box and those heater core lines. Then I'll put my bottle back up, hooked up the fans. Just got to tie in one more vacuum line, but it's coming together. Now I will clip my little pink string on the dash and slide that back over and continue reassembly.